YouTube, I have been seeing people posting their top 10 influential books. I don't really have 10 books, but I have 5 books that have really inspired me. So my first book is Little House in the Big Woods by Laura Ingalls Wilder. My mom has been trying to get me to read these for years, and at 12 years old, I hated reading. I did not want to read. I couldn't find anything that held my interest. My school always has a thing called Accelerated Reader or AR, and my grade would just sink because I did not want to read. So one day I was just chilling at home, bored, and I thought, I'll pick this up. Show my mom I won't really like it. Turns out I loved it, and so this is where my crazy reading obsession came from. Next we have The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, and this book introduced me to a new genre of books, because before I just read historical fiction and Little House books and that was it. So this book made me realize, hey, I like this Greek mythology stuff, and it kind of made me realize I kind of want to study it. Next we have Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. This book introduced me to the fantasy more and made me want to read young adult books now, because before I didn't really read young adult books. I was still kind of hooked on historical fiction, where after this book it was just all fantasy, science fiction. Then the next one, no surprise, is Divergent by Veronica Roth. This book I found when I was perusing through the bookstore at Barnes & Noble's, and I see this book and I'm like, Divergent, I'm not sure if I'm going to like it or not, and I read the yak and it doesn't really tell me much, so do what they tell you to do, read the first page and stuff, and I'm thinking, I don't really like this book, but kind of want to give it a shot, so YOLO, I buy it, and I end up really liking it. Triss's character, I loved. She was very relatable, so I felt like I could really relate to her, and I actually have a friend who told me I remind her of Triss. I don't know how, but I remind her of Triss, and it really helped me a lot with the fear landscape and everything, because I have anxiety, and so I like to make things bigger than they seem, or I worry a lot, and so I kind of like, this could be like a fear landscape where I think it's real, but it really is not real, and so this book really helped me, and I really love this book, and it made me think if you like differently. Then finally, last but not least, we have The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This book I started at 13, got this way in, and I realized I didn't like it, put it down to, still historical fiction, and I picked this back up a few years later. I read the whole thing, and I'm like, I actually really like it. I actually didn't like the first book as much, because after this they've already been really popular, so I already knew what was going to happen. Otherwise, I love the series, but these books really made me view life differently. So that's why it's one of my top 5 most inspiring books. Anyways, I hope you liked this. I hope you learned more about me and my top 5 books. What are your top 5 books? Feel free to share them in the comments below.